Hello everyone, and look, we're getting 2 videos in a row in 2 weeks, so that's a good start to my month. I've done this, and my newsletter's gone out, so I'm off to a good start. This week is about getting back into routine and getting back to some good habits I've let slide. The big one being on Saturday, a friend reminded me that I do feel better when I do my running. Um, I almost feel bad saying that I do running for exercise because it's more like I walk and then I do spurts of running. I'm building up strength so I can run more. But I do feel better. And in the afternoons that I actually take the time to run in the morning. This morning it was a little bit tough. I got up, I didn't sleep great, and we live on this country gravel road, and I walk. It's not very far, but I walk to the end of it and then turn around and run about half of the way back, if in spurts, not all at once. But this morning my legs were cramping pretty bad, and I about halfway down the road was like, why am I even going? I'm not even sure why I was cramping this morning in my legs. It's just weird. But perseverance is important in many areas of life. Not just running is one of the ones. And of course, writing, perseverance is key. Because there's always a point in every project where you get tired of it. It's not exciting and new. You're not at the climax. And you're just ready to be done with the project. I actually typically have a hardest time after it's written and doing the editing. Because to me the story's done, but it's not. It's not ready for people. One of the projects I'm working on is the nonfiction for a Christian organization, and I'm supposed to be editing it. Persevering through that is tough sometimes. This is the first one I've dealt with a lot of input from people who have not been part of the writing process, who haven't had any experience working with a writer. It's been quite a challenge at times, fun at others, but that project is causing me to build up my perseverance. And this week has been a little bit nutsy, in that I haven't gotten a lot done. Been doing a lot of going, and the week's not even, I just suddenly realized my week is just started, but it already feels very packed. My mom and 2 of my sisters are off working, off with an aunt who, for at least 3 days, we're in possibility of more, which should give me plenty of time to work on stuff. But so far, Monday and Tuesday were a wash as far as work's concerned. So today I'm about to go to my home health aide job, and then I will plan on doing some writing. I think one of the things that I was reminded of in just getting back into the habit of running and is that sometimes there are good things we have to do that are hard and we have to build up to. Because right now I'm really discouraged. I lost a lot of my stamina for the running and the time that I let it slide. Now there was a good reason. It started a few weeks ago, and I was having trouble. I had trouble because of allergens, getting full lung capacity, and then there was a fever, and I don't run when I have a fever. And so there were some good reasons why I stopped, but I stopped for way too long. Lost a lot. So yeah, building that back up, and I'm not exactly sure where I was going with that. I'm a little bit, like I said, I'm a little tired this morning. But there are also things, I remember, there are some things that you push through, and then there are some times, even with things that you need to persevere through, that you have to let yourself have a break. I have the privilege of having lunch yesterday with a fellow author, Kelsey Bryant, and we were talking about this, is that a lot of people will tell you, you have to write every day, you have to set so much time aside, and which I agree with in principle. But one of the things that we were talking about, is that sometimes that's very discouraging, because we have other jobs, we have life that gets in the way, and we love our writing and stuff, but things get in the way, and is that a problem? And the thing is, neither of us struggle with being disciplined during writing. We spend time with it. It's not something we ignore. But one of the things you do have to remember with creativity is that there are times it just doesn't work. I sat down Monday to work on stuff, and I knew that whatever I did, I started and I restarted, and then through time I deleted what I'd done and restarted, and I realized no matter what I did, the creative juices weren't flowing. And so I set it aside, and I worked on a quilt that I'm working on, which maybe I'll show in my next video. And I listened to a audiobook, and I had a good, fairly productive afternoon, but it's not the way I wanted to be productive. And sometimes that happens. For you writers who are out there, it is good. If you are struggling with being disciplined in your writing, set aside time. Make sure you're doing it. And even those who are disciplined, make sure it doesn't fall by the wayside. But do remember, writing is a creative process, or if for any creative process, there are going to be times where you need to step back and go, I don't have creativity today. I don't even have the capacity to make something that's worth editing later or fixing later. And that is also okay. Some people do better. There are some authors I know who they write at least 100 words a day, or there are some people who make sure between these hours they're working, even if they are sitting at the computer typing I will write over and over again, and that works for them. Some of us, that doesn't work for. So that's my week so far. I'd love to hear about what you're